Hello again, and welcome back to Glitter and Bold TV. I'm Brittany, the lettering hands and official doer of all things here at Glitter and Bold, and today I'm diving into one of my favorite lettering tools, the Procreate app on the iPad Pro. When I first saw digital lettering on Procreate, it wasn't long before I started pricing iPads. Side note, the Procreate app is only available for the iPad, and the Apple Pencil, which is what I'll be using, is only available for the iPad Pro. It wasn't long before I found myself standing in line at Best Buy on Thanksgiving, waiting to grab the last rose gold iPad Pro. Naturally, I rushed right home to play with my new toy, only to figure out that I actually had no idea what the heck I was doing. Those beautifully smooth brush strokes and, easy to make digital quotes of my dreams seemed totally impossible. My letters looked like shit. So I fiddled, I experimented, I watched all the YouTube tutorials, I read all the blog posts, I just kind of played around with it for a few years, and I finally figured out not only how to actually use the Procreate app, but how to make it my favorite tool. And so without further ado, here are my top 15 tips and tricks to help you jumpstart your Procreate lettering no matter what level you're at. Number 1, use a grid. You can download some great grid options, like the free one from yours truly that I'll have linked up for you in the notes in the description. But you can also add a basic grid straight through Procreate. Under brushes, choose textures, and then grid here right on top. I like to make my screen as small as possible, and my grid brushes you can see over on the side as large as possible, and that way my grid lines won't overlap. And voila! Number 2, straight lines. Whether adding lines for lettering layout, illustration, or forming letters themselves, being able to draw a perfectly straight line is a huge help. When you're drawing a line, no matter how straight you start to draw it, hold down with your pencil and the line will snap straight. You can continue to drag it perfectly straight or stop at the end where you need it to be. You can also tap the screen with one finger while holding down your pen or stylus, and this will not only snap your line straight, but also at a perfect angle. Number 3, don't settle for Procreate brushes that come with the app. Procreate comes with a ton of brush options, but unless you take the time to fiddle with them, a lot of them are pretty lackluster compared to the ones made by lettering artists specifically for lettering. And no, this isn't just a shameless plug for my Procreate brushes, although they are freaking awesome. You can snag them in the link in the description. But I've had a vastly better experience lettering with brushes I've purchased or even downloaded for free than the ones that came with Procreate. Number 4, STREAMLINE brushes. That being said, one of the things to look out for in any brush is how streamlined it is. Streamlining basically means that the brush draws smoothly, even if you aren't using a perfectly steady hand. If you use brushes straight from Procreate, they often aren't streamlined at all, so they come out shaky. But even some downloaded ones can have this issue, especially if they're for free. For example, this is the monoline brush from Procreate. Now, it looks like I've never picked up a pencil a day in my life, right? Or, I've had 10 cups of coffee today. But I promise you, that's not me. When I use a brush like the monoline version in my pack, darling, make it about the same size. Using the same pen and the same technique, right? This is still just my Apple Pencil. As you can see, it looks much smoother. Luckily, if you do have a brush that's more like the top one, the fix is super easy. Go to the brush you want to change and click on it. This menu should appear. Now, while all these options are fun to fiddle with to create your own custom brush, for this we only need the part on the bottom left that says stroke. Select that menu, which I'm already here, and then look for the option to change streamline. So right now mine is set to 1.5%. I like to keep mine more in the 90s. Usually not on max, then it tends to get a little wonky. But right around here is usually pretty good. Now that same Procreate brush, just by changing the streamline, is a million times smoother. Number 5, copy paste with 3 fingers. Learning how to copy and paste was a game changer for me in Procreate. You can use it to change your layout, duplicate a specific letter or design, or even get a fun shadow effect. Simply swipe down on your screen with 3 fingers and this menu should appear. You can cut and paste to move around letters or specific parts you've selected, or you can copy and paste something into a totally new layer. Number 6, fill colors. Filling in a letter or object without having to manually draw in the whole thing yourself is also a big plus. Simply drag the colored circle at the top of your screen over to the space you want filled in and release. Be sure that the space is entirely closed off or you'll end up just filling in your whole canvas. Number 7, Alpha Lock. The Alpha Lock feature is great if you want to change the color of a design or even just a letter. Click the layer you'd like to work with in your Layers menu, and then select Alpha Lock. See the background of that layer icon switch to a transparent color. This means your Alpha Lock is on. Then you can go ahead and draw over any part you'd like, and only that part of the layer will be affected. Number 8, shadows. You can also use the Alpha Lock feature to create a fun shadow behind your design. Copy the lettering you want to duplicate for a shadow and paste it into a new layer using the 3-finger swipe, like I did before. Alpha Lock the bottom layer and change the color to whatever you want, and then move the layer to create your drop shadow, and you're all set. Number 9, merge layers. Merging layers is great for when you want to keep everything together. Simply arrange your layers to be on top of one another in your Layers menu, and then click the topmost layer and select Merge Down. Now these are connected, so I can go ahead and move them or resize them together. Number 10, switch between colors. Quickly switch between 2 colors by tapping your color icon at the top. This should bring you back to the previously used color. Number 11, save color palettes. Saving color palettes is a total lifesaver. Just click the color icon at the top of the screen and either find a color you love using the color wheel, or enter a hex code under values. Then hold down one of the gray squares until the option to set appears. Click set and your color is saved. You can hold it again for delete option to appear. Number 12, use your eraser. Don't be afraid to use your eraser. This is one of the best parts about lettering digitally. I use mine to erase mistakes, obviously, but also to taper off the ends of my lettering to get that flat edge that you'll see all over my social media. You can also change the brush of your eraser, just like you can change the brushes themselves. So if you're working with a textured brush, change the eraser to be the same. That way when you erase mistakes or add details inside of your letters, you won't lose that fun texture. Number 13, hold down to get color. Have a color you'd love to copy but don't know the hex code? Easy peasy. Just open the picture in Procreate and hold down on the color you want. It should appear in your color icon to save in your color palette. Number 14, time-lapse replay. Replaying the time-lapse of your time on Procreate can be a really fun feature, especially if you like to add your lettering to Instagram or Facebook. Just go to the Actions menu at the top, the little wrench icon, select Video, and make sure time-lapse recording is toggled on. You can then click Export Time-Lapse Video at any time, and it'll automatically generate a time-lapse of your work in that canvas. Number 15, organize your gallery. This one might seem a little obvious, but I personally didn't figure it out until I stumbled on it a year into using Procreate. You can organize your gallery into folders or stacks so that similar work can be placed together and you can find things so much easier. To do so, drag an item into your gallery on top of another that you want to save together. This will start your stack. Then keep dragging that stack over the others you want together and they'll fall into place. You can also name your stacks so that they're organized just like you'd organize files. Double click on the word stack and then you can type in whatever you want. And there you have it, my top 15 tips and tricks for Procreate lettering like a boss. I'll be back next week with some more lettering goodness, but in the meantime, grab my totally free Procreate brush and lettering grid through the link in my description. And as always, happy lettering!